Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy, and Hulk Hogan passed away.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. And we got a few other stories, mainly politics, but we'll start with Hulk Hogan tonight, I think.
Yes.
Okay, let's go into it.
Whose news, came on while I was on WDW Pro. So, thank you, WDW Pro, for having me on. But at the same time, started with sad news right off the top. And here we are continuing the trend. But
well, it doesn't have to be sad. We got some good clips of them, so let's remember them. And we don't need to be sad. We can have high energy here.
And he's more of your era.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hulk Hogan was huge in my era. He was a hero when I was a little kid. As he got older, I got into some personal affairs. But, man, I idolized the guy as a youth. I watched all of his movies, whether it was when he was in Rocky or when he was in No Holds Bar. Hulk Hogan was a legend. He was a movie star, an icon, and a wrestler. And I absolutely loved wrestling as a child. Okay, let's get into this.
So, breaking wrestling icon Hulk Hogan has passed away at 71. Rest in peace, legend, and all the best to his family during this difficult time as well. So you want to watch this one first?
Yeah, we can watch this. And he was at the RNC, so he was getting political near the end of his career, which, yeah.
Which also, I have something to say about that after.
Okay.
What happened last week when they took a shot at my hero? And they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
Okay, that's good for that clip.
And maybe let's honor his wish.
Yeah, and how old was he? 71?
71.
He looked great for 71.
Yeah.
Okay, do we get the second clip here?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, can I say what I wanted to say?
Oh, yeah.
I have seen, and it always happens when someone passes away, but a lot of people, because of his political involvement, coming right off the bat and criticizing him and saying, oh, maybe he can join with the president may be able to join him soon, stuff like that I think no matter how much you dislike a person, even if it's a super liberal, progressive person that unfortunately passes away, I think it's disgusting to do those kinds of comments right after the passing of someone, no matter how many disagreements you have with them. I think we've lost a lot of common sense and decency just in society in general, and seeing those kinds of comments coming right when it was announced, I think is disgusting and in poor taste, and I just don't wish that on anybody, and I think it's a bad way to conduct yourself online or offline even. But
Okay, I lightened you up a little bit. Hopefully you look better.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue to go with the next clip. The next clip is this was not a clip, but some pictures. We also have a clip with some children next after this.
Sounds weird.
He was always good with kids.
Yes.
Like, take your vitamins, don't do drugs, even if he didn't necessarily listen to it. That was the message he always pushed out to children as Hulk Hogan, so that was really great.
And he was an icon of, a long gone, bygone era of Americana, which I don't think is if it might ever come back. But from Benny Johnson, a few short months ago, Hulk Hogan gave his life to Jesus Christ. Hogan was baptized in a total surrender and dedication to Jesus. Rest easy, Hulk, you're finally home.
Yeah, and he got baptized pretty late in life, so it's good that he found God right before maybe he met his maker, I guess. Let's go into the last clip, though. And I hadn't had a chance to see this, but it looked pretty good. I glanced over it.
So meeting a young fan who had his voice and moves down perfectly.
Let me tell you something, brother. When you walk in this beat shop, I'm surprised that you still got the shirt on, Jack.
Well, let me tell you something. Oh, sure, the first time I met you, I was only 3 years old, but now I'm 6 years old. So now we gotta take it to a bigger level, man. Just like when you put that no good stinky giant over your head and send them right through the table in front of 93,000 Hulkamaniacs. So what are they gonna do when the power of the Hulkster and the Roaster and the dual 24-inch pythons run wild on you?
I am a real American. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
Oh, that's good music. Yeah, so that was a great clip. And the Hulkster was always great with kids, but adults too. He was at quite a few autograph signings. I knew quite a few people that had met him, and he was always great. So, and I think that was at his beach shop. They had a beach shop that was used his name, so he was always there doing autograph signings and things like that in Florida.
What is that? I don't even know what that is. What's a shop?
A beach shop.
Oh, beach.
Yeah, you buy things for the beach.
Oh, okay. Because I saw a bunch of belts behind him, but
Yeah.
probably his belts.
Okay, let's keep going.
Okay. Next story.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say it's always nice when like clips like that come out. Same with Ozzy and remembering people positively as well, because I think that's what most people that pass would like instead of just sadness and doom and gloom. From Wide Awake Media, we all know that Bill Gates launched a product called Appeal, if you didn't look it up, coating for fruits and vegetables that abnormally extends shelf life. But did you know there's an organic version called Organipeel that is sprayed on your organic produce? Organipeel is registered as a pesticide with the EPA, but still qualifies for that organic sticker. You need safety glasses to use this, but it's okay to eat. So next time you buy organic produce, think, what am I actually eating?
Yeah, this is a little bit crazy because what happens if you want fruits and vegetables without this stuff on it? It's going to start to get hard to get after a while. Right now, I think you have choices, but they're rolling this out all over the U.S. and possibly Canada soon.
I mean, grow them yourself.
So you're telling me you still think organic means it's safe to eat? We all know that Bill Gates launched a product called Appeal, a coating for fruits and vegetables that abnormally extends shelf life. But did you know there is an organic version called Organipeel that is sprayed on your organic produce? Sounds harmless, right? Until you find out that Organipeel is registered as a pesticide with the EPA, but it's still
And like when you're buying organic, you don't want pesticides on it. A lot of people don't know that organic fruits and vegetables, actually, they do use pesticides on them. They just use a lesser quantity. And this is just like, you're putting pesticides on all these fruits and vegetables as they're growing. And then once they're done growing, picking them out of the ground, you're now putting more chemicals on these vegetables.
And at the same time, there are natural pesticides. The problem is because of a lot of GMO engineering, bioengineering, even though that specific fruit or vegetable might not have been bioengineered, the fact that pests have also grown and adapted to that, it's almost impossible to use in a lot of crops and farming the natural ones as well.
qualifies for that organic sticker. Now here's where it gets insane. The ingredients list of Organipeel, you have citric acid 0.66% and other ingredients 99.34%. There's no transparency, there's no full disclosure. You are just receiving a mystery coating on your food. And the warning label causes moderate eye irritation. Avoid contact with eyes or clothing. Wear safety glasses before handling. Wash thoroughly with soap and water after handling and before eating, drinking, chewing gum, using tobacco, or using the toilet. So you need safety glasses to use this, but it's okay to eat? But don't worry, they say it's plant-based. But so was Agent Orange. So next time you bite into your organic produce, ask yourself, what am I really eating? Just something to think about.
And I do think, sometimes a lot of these kinds of videos are very fear-mongery, but the fact that they're it's just described as other ingredients, that should raise alarm. And the fact that there's no full disclosure, full transparency, that's alarming.
Not even full transparency. 99% of the ingredients that are in this thing aren't actually labeled. So how are you supposed to know? This is crazy, and it comes from Bill Gates, the same man that's trying to blot out the sun in the UK with the UK government. We've covered that story quite a few times on this channel. Dr. Evil, you start calling him, I guess.
And also the modification, just in general, of food products, fruits and vegetables. And it was very obvious for us, when we moved from Canada to Mexico, that even organic and the farm, what are those called? Market farms, farm markets?
Farmers markets.
Farmers markets, those things. Even the fruits and vegetables that you would get there, or the milk, the organic, the raw, the whatever, it tastes very differently than it does here in Mexico. And yes, it has to do with weather patterns and the exporting and importing. But at the same time, why is a lot of the fruit in Canada bouncy? but it's not bouncy here. Like there's something weird going on with fruits and vegetables, especially I would
Especially
say
in
Canada. Because they have weird regulations there.
Oh, and before I forget, next week we're gonna move the show to 6 p.m. Mexico City time. It's gonna come on before her show in Spanish.
Yes.
So yeah, and I'm gonna move my pop culture show up an hour as well.
So it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern for now. Then the times
Yeah, let's
change
not
again.
give the times exactly,
No, but the
yeah.
times change again.
There will be a time. There will be a time change next week, and we're
Yes.
gonna broadcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for lives, and then we're gonna shoot edited videos out on top of that. Okay, let's keep going here.
From Benny Johnson, it's very video heavy today. Benny Johnson, breaking Caroline Leavitt demands everyone who won a Pulitzer Prize for pushing the Russia 2016 hoax have their awards stripped away. The New York Times, Washington Post were ridiculously awarded Pulitzer Prizes. It's well past time those be stripped.
And I completely remember this era. I mean, they were winning Pulitzer Prize after Pulitzer Prize when it came in regards to this Russia hoax. And when this thing was found out to be fake, which was over a year ago now, they didn't take any of these prizes back. And now that the documents are out even further showing the hoax that was waged on the American public, these prizes have still not been taken back. The truth of the matter is they gave this Pulitzer Prizes, these prizes out to kind of reconfirm the story to the American public, to make them believe that lie. It would reinforce it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I mean, push credibility upon it when I mean, apparently, clearly it didn't merit it. Let's watch Caroline Leavitt.
Preparing for a Hillary Clinton victory. But at the unusual direction of Barack Obama at the time, the intel community published implausible intelligence suggesting otherwise. Why? To sabotage the incoming president. This is truly one of the greatest political scandals in American history. And reporters at legacy outlets, some of which are sitting in this room today, like the New York Times and the Washington Post, were ridiculously awarded Pulitzer Prizes for their perpetuation of this hoax. It's well past time for those awards to be stripped from the journalists who receive them. It is not journalism to propagate political disinformation in service of the Democrat Party and those in the intelligence community who hand over out of context and fake intelligence to push a false political narrative. Preparing for a
and we're seeing a lot of changes come in the mainstream media with 60 Minutes, a lot of the network news stations. So good changes are basically being made. So hopefully the mainstream media won't be so one-sided. We'll get more fair and balanced coverage. That's all we want. I don't necessarily want it to go hard the other way. I just want to see both sides.
And also the realization that a lot of people have come to, I mean, not just in the US, but everywhere, that for a very long time, for a few decades at least, and maybe forever, the news and media has been used to push propaganda upon people, especially since some anti-propaganda acts within the countries themselves were rescinded a few decades ago, and then they were allowed to just say anything they wanted. And while freedom of expression, total freedom of expression, freedom of the press is very important, it is also important to check them and have those checks and balances and not just the one side, because then it does become pure propaganda.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But speaking of
with
pure
that.
propaganda,
The View and Joy Behar, I
yes.
believe.
Actually, I think I broke this on WDW Pro and nobody noticed I talked about it before they brought on the story.
Yep.
But Justin, The View host Joy Behar, which is not a joy, announced the show is going on hiatus with only one more show left. And it seems like she was not allowed to say what she said. So let's watch her mess up real time.
And before we go on hiatus, we only have one more show after this. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Too late now.
So it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Before we go, I wanted to tell people that the tide is turning. The tide is turning, and things are changing. I mean, the ultimate irony would be that Rupert Murdoch will take him down.
Yeah.
Fox News, who created the monster, will take him down.
And I agree with her. The tide is turning, but not in her favor, I would say,
Not the
for
way
the
she
most
hopes.
part.
Yeah. And also, like, is The View really relevant at all? Does any woman that's at home, probably middle-aged or further down the road, interested in having this political barrage of idiot opinions by harpies. Is that really what she wants mid-morning as she's, I don't know,
Well,
cleaning, making breakfast, whatever? Like, this show used to be about hosting celebrities and having crazy, weird debates about random stuff. And then Trump got elected and they became insane and it just continued perpetually.
Yeah, that was most of the mainstream media kind of went insane at that point. If we look at something like Piers Morgan that was taken off the airwaves, he went over to YouTube, reformatted. That is a winning format, especially in that time slot. He brings different people with different perspectives on there to debate while he kind of hosts the show. I would like to see something like that. Just a difference of opinion I'd be even satisfied with. So they do have options if they want to kind of reformat the show. I was kind of thinking about this though, and I was wondering, I thought they would be much more likely to cancel the show. I think if they reformat the show and they fire some of their hosts, they may have to pay out those contracts. Or if they completely axe the show, they may be able to get out of some of those contracts and then just bring a new show in that slot. Maybe the Piers Morgan show.
And I mean, The View does go on hiatus usually around August, but the announcements seem to be a little bit too early for when they usually go on for that hiatus. And I mean, for now, what would even work better than just having the harpies talk and debate and say just stupid things would be to bring on that lawyer guy they had babysitting them and just have him make a show with the actual facts that they have to bring and the actual news that most people might find interesting in that format. But as you say, they either retool it and bring in at least two actual conservative girls, or get rid of it because it's going to go the way of Stephen Colbert, where like it's probably losing a lot of money and the viewership base is not even beneficial to ABC anymore.
Yeah. Okay, what do we got next on the menu here?
The menu. I'm hungry. Wall Street Ape says Obama is so effed. 20 CIA and FBI agents have now confirmed that Barack Obama worked with our old CIA director to create the fake Russia hoax and then locked it away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Again, 20 CIA and FBI agents now confirm this.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna start needing to see prosecutions, not necessarily just Obama, but other people that are help orchestrate this scandal. Now that they're having people that are willing to testify and have given private testimony or at least interviews, hopefully this thing starts to have a little bit of a snowball effect, because if this ends up like the Epstein thing where it's just kind of frozen, a lot of people are going to be asking a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. It's just a distraction.
And that's also kind of why we haven't really commented on the Epstein thing anymore, because it just, till there's something, there's nothing.
Fox News
I
alert the
comment
director
on it
of
all the time, but yeah.
National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, releasing a bombshell report today that shows a conspiracy by a sitting president, Barack Obama, and his intel agencies to sabotage the president-elect, Donald Trump, brainwash the electorate, and undermine the legitimacy of an election.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't.
Gabbard got her hands on a House intel report that's
just because
been
it's
locked.
Fox News, I don't want to get tagged. But yeah, they've kind of released the documentation, and now they are getting some testimony out there with these agents. So the next step would hopefully be prosecutions, and they should be able to do it in quick form because they knew they were going to release this to the public. So I think the public is a little antsy, especially after the Epstein thing. I wouldn't say after the Epstein thing. We're still waiting on that.
Alongside with.
Away in a CIA vault for almost a decade. Investigators spent over 2,000 hours looking into how the Russia hoax was born, interviewing 20 CIA and FBI officials. And it turns out that the Obama administration doctored the intelligence to make it look like Putin and Trump stole the election. A month after Trump beat Hillary, Barack Obama wasn't satisfied with his intelligence reporting and ordered his CIA director to create a new assessment of how Russia interfered with the election. This was a highly unusual move.
Yeah, and then they used that documentation and kind of got informants that were given lesser sentences or lesser terms in order to orchestrate this entire Russia hoax. So this thing fell apart in spectacular form. there needs to be prosecutions because documentation isn't enough. I know I keep saying it, but okay, that's pretty good.
And also, I think one of the alarming things as well is the whole Hillary health thing, because for the longest time, these clips were surfacing during the race where she was either about to pass out or acting very strangely. And the fact that there were documents from the agents themselves describing the situation and saying that Russia had some sort of information about Hillary's health and how even Obama himself was worried about it and extremely, alert to the situation, and yet nothing was said. I mean, of course, then we see the Hunter Biden laptop story, which once again, that was obvious, and Biden's health himself, which also was obvious. So the fact that this is now coming out, I think there's enough, credible evidence to say, well, it's a pattern. It's not just like they're bringing it out of thin air.
Know if it seems like there's something there. There needs to be prosecutions, period, on this thing. Otherwise, I'm going to take it as a distraction for the Epstein files. So, okay, let's go into, yeah.
So, okay. Tim Pool says Barack Obama ordered the director of the CIA, Brennan, to release information they knew to be false. This isn't hard, CNN. Let's see what Timmy says.
Wait a minute, just a minute ago, you were saying the Wall Street Journal.
Why don't you let me finish?
These
people wanted the American people to believe it was an illegitimate president. That was the point.
The Obama deep state, multiple officials.
So what about?
I would argue that Democrats are really.
What is this cacophony of nonsense? I like Scott Jennings. Scott, did you read the report? No disrespect. I wish we had a more articulate and simple response, but I give you this now. Let me just speak for Scott as this question of what happened. Barack Obama ordered the director of the CIA, Brennan, to release information they knew to be false. Thank you and have a nice day. Oh, you want me to elaborate? Okay. Barack Obama, the sitting president, ordered Brennan, the director of the CIA, to release intelligence they knew to be false, purposefully to smear Donald Trump as someone who colluded with the Russians or to delegitimize his presidency as a shill of the Russians.
And that's pretty good. And yeah, all those meetings took place after Trump had won, but before he had taken office. So this was kind of a planned coup to undermine his entire presidency and possibly take him out of office in 2016. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think same as with the Epstein files, the more they try to cover it up and try to excuse it, the worse it's going to be getting. But now on that side, so I mean, both sides just come out with it already.
And I put this next article in here, or just, I guess, X post from Robert Barnes. I really like Robert Barnes, but he absolutely hates Candace Owens. This is one of the few times I actually disagree with him. So,
do you want to explain Robert Barnes before we go on? Because you'll explain him better than I can.
Yeah, Robert Barnes is one of the big constitutional lawyers in the United States. He helped Trump in a lot of his law affair. He was actually a very good advisor, and I really wish some of Trump's other lawyers would have listened to him a little bit more. He's a great insider when it comes to especially American legislation, things that are kind of going on behind the scenes in the Trump administration, the week-to-week workings with Supreme Court cases that are going through. He's an absolute crucial resource. He just has an axe to grind with Candace Owens. That being said, I really like Candace, so I don't think Candace is cooked in any way, shape, or form, but it seems like Barnes and Steven Crowder are kind of teaming up to say she's cooked.
Interesting. Has anybody from the Daily Wire really done any commentary? Because those are the ones that really have an axe to grind as well. So I don't know if they commented on this because it's basically national news at this point, at least. Yeah. International now as well.
I'm going to be very interested to go see this case going forward. The only people that actually think Candace is cooked are people that had previously had an axe to grind with her, and not people that either like her or had no opinion of her. Mm-hmm. The case is extremely weak because of the free speech laws within the United States, and because everything Candace said, she actually believed because she backed up with what she believed to be hard evidence from other journalists in France that strange things were happening too.
Yes. And I mean, that's the main thing. They have to prove that she did not believe it and yet lied, and thus the defamation. But Robert Barnes says, Queen Candace is cooked. And then someone else says, yeah, Candace is so screwed. It's a solid complaint. Should I read it a little bit?
Yeah, I don't think it's a solid complaint whatsoever because I watched the whole 5-part series and you can see logically how she came to the conclusions she did.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a DNA test in this just to put it to rest. That would make the case easy.
Or just a hip x-ray.
Well, if she has a DNA test and she ends up being a woman, I'd say, okay, Candace, maybe we can get her from defamation. But if she is a man...
But not even, because if she is a woman, but Candace can prove she believed, even privately, that Brigitte Macron is a man, then the complaint cannot move forward because, once again, they have to be able to prove the fact that Candace was willingly lying and defaming this person.
Also, a lot of the evidence they tried to put in the case briefing there was just false allegations against Candace. So I think Candace could possibly have a countersuit here. I really hope she does. I hope if they drop this defamation case, because when it starts to come time to do, what do you call it?
Discovery?
Yeah, when it comes time to do discovery, I think the Macrons may just drop the entire thing, and that would be a time for Candace to pounce.
Yeah, they're going to have to. But let's just quickly read what they're saying is like a solid complaint. In March 2024, Candace Owens, a right-wing podcaster, told the world she would stake her entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron...
One moment. And yeah, and I went through this whole briefing. Actually, I watched a lawyer go through the whole briefing page by page. And... what was I going to say there? A lot of it is they're trying to smear Candace as a racist, even though she's black, that she's against Jews, she's anti-Semitic, she's a conspiracy theorist. They're really just trying to smear her in this complaint to kind of taint the judge, or in this case, if there ends up being a jury, probably try to taint the jury with all these trigger words like you're anti-Semitic, you're racist, you're this, you're that. Okay, we can continue to go here.
Sin is in fact a man. Since then, Owens has used this false statement to promote her independent platform, gain notoriety, and make money. Owens disregarded all credible evidence disproving her claim in favor of platforming known conspiracy theorists and proven defamers. And rather than engage with President and Mr. Macron's attempts to set the record straight, Owens mocked them and used them as additional fodder for her frenzied fan base. And it does not stop
she
there.
continues to mock him. And I was watching Steven Crowder, at least a clip of him talking about this case, and it was, I lost a lot of respect for Steven Crowder today. He's like, the Macrons have already proven their case. They've showed photos, and then he shows the photos. They show the evidence, and it's the exact same photo evidence that Candace Owens put up there that actually disproves a lot of the theories that she is actually a woman.
I lost respect for Crowder a long time ago.
I still don't mind Crowder. I watch him, so.
But again, it would be very interesting to see what the Daily Wire has to say. But this also not only goes against, the Mr. and Mr. Macron, but also goes against the whole trans ideology that France was so forcefully trying to push upon people during the Olympics last year. And the fact that now apparently saying that a woman might be trans woman, which we have to celebrate, now is an insult and defamatory. So which one is it?
Well, yeah, I was watching somebody today in a debate, and they were actually talking about the Daily Wire and how they're losing massive credibility, and how a lot of right-wing platforms during the era of censorship were actually in on the censorship. That's why there was a few big distributors on the right, like the Daily Wire, that was kind of allowed to say whatever they wanted to say while everybody else was being censored. But now that free speech is really opening up, especially in the United States and a lot of these platforms, the Daily Wire is actually having to engage in an honest discourse, and they don't have a monopoly on the right anymore. Mm-hmm. And they're starting to lose a lot of legitimacy, and people aren't necessarily caring what they're putting out there as much. I still do like a lot of the hosts like Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh, but they don't have the credibility they used to, and they're in a lot of financial trouble right now.
And Candace and her husband were able to make their own media company, and now are almost completely, almost safe in a way from more cancellation. Because, you can go to her private version as well if you want to.
Well, and let's remember what happened to Parler. They actually created Parler. It was really getting going off the feet, really fighting censorship at the time, and then the App Store just completely shut it down. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we do have some comments. So Walker says, Nat, I think you should do a video about the lowering of age for what I said yesterday in Cuba. yes, would be interesting in now that I'm doing videos in Spanish and English now, they'll probably be on both channels. Rafa says, hello, sorry for being late.
Oh,
you
good
don't
to
have
see
to be sorry. It's not class. But thank you for being here always. We just appreciate you being here and commenting.
Oh, and now that you two are here because you are #1 fans and we've always appreciated you two. Next week, we're going to do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My morning show is going to go on an hour earlier. I had accidentally tested it out before, and that time slot worked better. And then our night show is actually going to go on probably about an hour, hour and a half before her Spanish show at night,
Sorry.
rather than after.
So since you do know Mexico City times, that would be 6 p.m. Mexico City time, 6 to 7:30. And that way in Spanish, I can go on for as long as I want. And that time works better for people in Spanish and the other one for people in English. But always thankful for your support. And Rafa also says, in order to prove that Candace is lying, I guess Brigitte should prove that she is a biological woman, right?
Would be really
but
simple.
But it's not even that.
But the thing people are going to be so interested in this case is, number one, Candace is like really standing up to power, and these people, Macron and his wife, have really shut down journalists in that country and intimidated them with the Secret Service,
and
the French Secret Service. So I really give it to Candace for actually standing up. Her and her husband have a lot of money, not just for her show, but her husband is extremely wealthy. So they can get the best attorneys to fight back against they got the same attorneys that went after Alex Jones and a lot of other people. So it's going to be law firm versus law firm here. But I'm very interested in trying to challenge her to take a DNA test if she's so sure.
But even then, if Mr. Macron takes a DNA test and it turns out there's no D in the legitimate biological woman, it doesn't matter if Candace can prove that she believed the whole time. No emails or texts come out by Candace saying, oh, I know she's a man, I know she's a woman, but let's just continue with the thing to get money. If they can find that, then sure, they have a case. If they can't, it's about getting into Candace's brain and making sure that she actually believes it, which through all the evidence she gave throughout her series, a lot of the lives she did on Instagram as well, and a lot of other evidence, just messages and stuff, proving that that's what she believes.
All this stuff didn't come out of her head. It came out from 3 journalists in France and a gentleman that wrote a book. So this was kind of well known, but it was definitely beneath the surface, even in France. So internationally, this wasn't well known. This is backfiring on the Macrons massively. They're being forced into a spot where every single content creator is going to cover this until this thing is over. It's going to get major international exposure. Candace Owens on Today's Show was showing people in India covering this on mainstream media, people in South Korea, the mainstream media in Japan covering this, Russia and China both covering this.
And I've seen Spanish media also covering it because I wanted to talk about it in Spanish. And usually I have to translate an article for like very specific stories I want to talk about. This one, there were multiple outlets, like credible outlets in Spanish also talking about it.
This story has it all. And Candace Owens on her own, either you love her or you hate her as a content creator, and the content that creators that hate her are covering this story because they hate her, and the ones that love her, like us, are covering it because we love her. And then you have the X factor, which is the story itself is like tabloid sensational. If this ends up being true, my God, this is gonna be as big or bigger than the Epstein files, because if you watch that whole series with Candace, it was actually a lot less about Bridget being a man than it was about all the seediest connections they had with children and people that like children. So again, if you haven't seen Candace's series, I highly recommend it. It can be long and tedious, but it is worth a watch, especially with this case coming up.
And also, if the Macrons wanted to have more notoriety for this case and for this story, this is exactly what you would do. This is like a play-by-play book of how to get more media exposure on a case that you want to not be out in the world. And at the same time, we see Michelle Obama, Big Mike. I mean, those rumors have been flowing forever. And she just stays quiet because she knows that if she gives into it, the fodder and everything, it just makes it way worse. So they could have learned a little bit from the Obamas in that sense.
And I was also watching the Macron's law firm today. They had a spokesman for them talking about this. And blatant lies he was saying about Candace, that they had given Candace an opportunity to confront them directly, and they didn't. Candace actually wrote a letter to them through their lawyer, who had contacted her to stop, saying, well, just answer these questions. This is your opportunity to have... Yeah.
And we also have more comments from Walker. Says, interesting comment, saying, did you see that Macron of France recognized Palestine as a country? And then following up, Rafa says, former Prime Minister of Israel called out Candace some time ago, so don't discard this attack as a joint effort. And also, I mean, what she did in the Daily Wire and what happened with the Daily Wire. I mean, there are a lot of dots we could connect.
Without a shadow of a doubt, this is Israel coming after Candace. I'm sure they got the best lawyers, and it's financed. Like, Macron and his wife, I'm sure, wanted to just let this thing probably die on the vine. This thing is going to be bigger than anything now. They were probably getting pressured from Israel. Candace is her and Nick Fuentes are enemy number one of Israel. So, and Israel is losing a lot of ground on the right now. The left already hasn't liked them for a long time, mainly because of Netanyahu and the fact that they're starting all these wars right now. But they don't want to lose ground on the political right. Are you okay?
Yeah, just our dog was in a weird position, and she has back issues, so she was half in on her bed, half off, and then her legs hurt and she doesn't know why. And Rafa says Brett Cooper also humiliated the Daily Wire, and she did it, in my opinion, in an even classier way than Candace did, because I mean, she got married, she started her own thing, gained millions of subscribers, now she's pregnant, she's having a baby, and she's just growing and growing and growing, and now she's on Fox News.
Yeah, and the topic of Israel came up here, and I was watching Robert Barnes, who necessarily doesn't like Candace Owens, absolutely hates her, and he's usually a big supporter of Israel, but he doesn't like Netanyahu. That being said, he gave a in-depth, because he knows the inner workings of the Trump administration. He's worked with them before. All the big players around Trump were put there not only because they're pro-Israel, but because they take money from them, and then they appointed the other people that are in the inner circle of the Trump administration right now. That would include Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and like 4 others. So a lot of this Epstein thing, the strings are possibly being pulled by Israel as well. So less and less, I'm thinking this is a setup, like I said it was. So I'm thinking this has a lot more to do with Israel now than Mossad.
And I mean, also around the Epstein thing, and I think you mentioned it as well. And just to finish off with the Daily Wire and Brett Cooper and Candace and all that happened there, now they're bringing on, I forgot her, I just had her name. They just announced that they're bringing on,
Lindsay, Lauren?
No, they're all called the same.
Brown?
Isabel Brown. Now they're bringing on Isabel Brown, whom I really like and respect, and she's also just had a baby and a new mother. So it's interesting that they did understand that maybe women, maybe different opinions are important, because she's like staunchly of faith, and she has spoken out about the Palestine and the Israel, and kind of more negatively, but not in the same forceful way as Candace did, or as Brett maybe tried to do and was stopped. So maybe they learned their lesson. I don't think so. But I just wish that they don't do the same to her as they did to those two. Because, I mean, they lost the best presenters they had, the best commentators they had.
Yeah,
and they have to learn from those mistakes as well.
I mean, Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh are good, but in different ways. Brett Cooper and Candace Owens were the best in front of the camera, and they could have easily kept them just by offering a fair contract.
Yes, or to be able to have free speech like they so much tout all the time.
I mean, I think Candace, I understand she can say some bombastic things, and the people at the Daily Wire disagreed with it, but letting her go was a mistake. It showed their own internal censorship within that network. Mm-hmm. So, okay. We got quite a few. Yep.
Walker says, I'm fine with the new schedule. So thank you for letting us know. And it is a change, but for the better, hopefully.
Yeah, we're trying to get a lot more in-person interviews, on-location stuff. We just need time. It's a full-time job trying to run 3 shows a day. It's a crazy amount of work. So we need full days off so we can do research, write scripts, film videos, and try to actually just reach out to people to get either in-person interviews or Zoom interviews.
And just go outside as well, because like one of the things I really want to do is see what the people in Mexico are thinking of and like what their opinions are, because I don't think anybody ever asks them anymore, and I think it is important.
Yeah.
As well for the Spanish channel and English, so people know what Mexicans think. But now,
and I'm trying to do a script this week. So I'm trying to do easier scripts right now that will be enjoyable because I'm trying to learn to edit. So this week's video, which I hopefully will write this weekend, is going to be Tim Hortons, Mexico versus Canada. So I've been to Tim Hortons in Canada a lot and Mexico a lot, and they are dramatically different.
Yes.
The Tim Hortons that's in Mexico, you would actually expect that to be in Canada, and the one in Canada you would expect to be in Mexico if you've never been to both of these countries. Yeah. So, and I kind of know the ins and outs of why both of these are like this. So I'll do a deep dive.
A deep dive. And I will have, what I'm basically going to try to do is have the same videos in English and in Spanish with the same subject matters at least, obviously told in a different way, but go more into the cultural battle and what I kind of used to do and investigating like NGOs and different actors that have their hands in Mexico and elsewhere. But with the Tim Hortons in Canada versus Mexico, I mean, and I have met a lot of Mexicans that arrive in Canada and they do know Tim Hortons from Mexico, and they go in and they're like, maybe it's just that one, because I mean, it always smells like pee. It always looks disheveled.
And when I compare them, I'm actually I'm doing an honest comparison because I'm doing the. I went to every single Tim Hortons in downtown Vancouver because I used to live there for years. So I'll be comparing the downtown core of Vancouver to the downtown core of Mexico City. And I think it's a fair comparison. So, I mean, yeah, in Canada, if you get outside of these cities, you can find nicer Tim Hortons, but in the downtown core of Vancouver especially, they're extremely violent. There's homeless people outside, inside. They literally snatch your sandwich out of your hand if you don't buy them something.
Smells like pee all the time, no matter if they just cleaned.
There's a lot of political things that are kind of adjacent to the Tim Hortons subject, especially when it comes to Canada.
But yes, Mexicans are shocked that Canada isn't like they thought and they saw in Mexico in Tim Hortons.
Yeah,
and the contrast, it just says it all, really.
And I think it's an interesting subject also because we have a bit of a Canadian audience. And if I have a video entitled Tim Hortons, a lot of Canadians will actually be the ones that click on that. And I think they'll be very surprised on how nice the Tim Hortons are in Mexico City, especially.
Well, they could have if they hadn't been taken over by a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to head over to RUMBLE. We actually have quite a few stories tonight for RUMBLE.
Yes.
Okay.
That we can see on YouTube. So
if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers eventually one day. We would like to monetize this channel.
Yes. So we'll see you there. And thank you for the comments, Rafa and Walker. And we'll hope for more over there. Come see spicy stories.
That doesn't sound good. Come see spicy stories.
Well, anything to get people